Good day and welcome to HSEM 407 Comparative Emergency Management. I just wanted to provide an update on the assignments and the expectations for the course. I am Dr. Linda Kiltz and I will be teaching the course this term. First of all, I wanted to welcome you to the class and ask that you read the syllabus very carefully because it does provide very detailed instructions regarding the course description, the course goals, as well as things like the learning outcomes, which are matched to each of the assignments and activities for the course. Of course, you should have the course reading materials, which you can get through our university bookstore, as well as online through things like Amazon. The mandatory textbook is the Comparative Emergency Management text by Demond Miller and Jason Rivera. In addition, there will be other scholarly readings each week that are part of the course. We will be taking this course through the Canvas Learning Management System. This is an asynchronous online course, so we will not be meeting on any specific day or time during the week. That is the instructional method. You will find that there's a number of papers and assignments that are due each week that I just wanted to talk about. Basically, each week starts on Monday, so we should be starting a new week every single Monday through the course, and each week ends on a Sunday or day 7. If you see something like something is due on day 4, that would be on Thursday of each week. You will find that in the discussion form, your initial posts answering the discussion question for each week is due on Thursday or day 4 of the week, and your responses to your colleagues are due by day 7 of each week. You will find that most paper assignments, in fact, all of your paper assignments will be due on day 7 of the week that they are due. So let's talk a little bit about some of the assignments and the evaluation for the course. This is a very much, a lot of the learning occurs in the discussion forum with our interaction with each other around the major themes through the discussions. So you will find that we have discussion forums each week for 15 weeks except for spring break. We also have 2 case study papers that will be due, 1 final paper, and 1 final presentation that is based off of that final paper. In terms of the assignment descriptions, the syllabus provides a very detailed explanation of all of the assignments and what's expected and what should be in each paper. This is also found in each module of have these assignments that are due. Please be aware of the due dates for your papers. The first one will be due in week 5, then week 11, and then week 15 has your major paper and your presentation. As I said, the discussion forum is a very important part of our class. Please be sure you're posting in there. What's important with the discussions is that you integrate the course readings and also do some independent research perhaps to answer the discussion forum questions. You should certainly integrate the readings each week and cite them using proper in-text citations using APA formatting. Your initial discussion post should also have a reference list of citations at the end. The discussions really are a form of practice writing for you to get used to summarizing scholarly work and pieces. This will make you a much better writer when it comes to your case papers and your final paper. So this is a way for us to practice APA formatting and writing at the college level. You'll find that your first case study paper is really an analysis of pandemic plans in other nations besides the United States. Given that we have suffered from COVID-19 internationally as a pandemic for over 2 years now, it's really important to understand not only what we are doing, but what other nation states are doing regarding their national responses to the global pandemic. So in this particular assignment, you're going to be writing a 5 to 6 page paper where you're going to be comparing pandemic preparedness plans of 2 different countries outside of the United States. You certainly can take 2 European countries, 2 Asian countries, Canada, and Mexico, but they have to be outside of the United States. I provided links of where you can find some of these plans, but what you should be reviewing in these plans is things like what are the primary government agencies at the national, state, and local levels that are heading up the pandemic preparedness, response, and recovery efforts? Are there non-governmental organizations? How is their public health organizational structure situated within the nation? Meaning, is it like the United States where much of the public health is run by local public health and state public health organizations with guidance from the national government, for example, or is it more centrally controlled by the national government? Who's largely responsible for planning and response? And then when you start comparing, to what degree do other nations or these other plans include faith-based organizations, nonprofits that might be involved in partnerships in some way during this pandemic period? It could be, they also might be partnering with other nation states or with other state organizations as well. And then when we start looking at ethical considerations, if you look at the U.S. National Pandemic Plan, there are some ethical issues that are considered, particularly around the issuance of critical supplies. So during COVID-19, obviously we've had shortages of things from ventilators to personal protective gear and even vaccinations in some cases. So oftentimes these national plans will have some type of document or consideration in the document around who is prioritized first in receiving critical equipment, critical protective gear, and even who would get vaccinated first once a vaccine is available. In COVID, we saw that normally those in healthcare positions, first responders, and other critical infrastructure were given vaccinations first, and then those most vulnerable to the disease, such as the elderly or those who had disease conditions, were given vaccinations first, with the youngest children being vaccinated last because they had the least likely chance of being harmed by COVID-19. So looking at these plans, what are some ethical issues? Obviously, determining who gets served first and when and where is an ethical decision. How were those made, and does it make sense? Was it fair? Most of your papers, all of your papers should be double-spaced and meet the APA formatting requirements according to the 7th edition of the APA manual. In your case study 2 paper, you'll be asked to pick another country, basically a major disaster in a specific country, and analyze how that nation responded and recovered from that disaster. And you're going to be looking at the government agencies, the NGOs, the community organizations, how they work together to respond to a specific disaster. You certainly can use the same nation that you used in your pandemic, except obviously choose a different disaster that has impacted that nation. And in this case, you'll be answering a number of questions about the challenges that these organizations faced in communicating and coordinating their efforts in the response to a specific disaster. Again, this is a 5 to 6 page paper. It's worth about 150 points or so. The major paper that will be due is you're going to be doing a more in-depth research paper on the emergency management practices in a specific region or country. In a region, you could be studying, for example, the Arctic region that might encompass more than one nation state or country. So if you chose a specific region and we're looking at a number of different nations that were part of a region and they coordinated their emergency management practices, you can certainly write about that. But in this case, it's a little bit different in that you're going to be looking at that nation in totality in terms of the emergency management cycle. So how does that specific region or country prepare for disasters, mitigate different disasters in their nation, respond to disasters, and recover from them. So what's important in this case is you're going to be really looking at how they use the entire emergency management cycle in their response to you could say a specific disaster as well, if you wanted to give that example. You can certainly build from your case study paper, your case number 2 paper, and build on that in this final paper product. I just ask that it be more detailed, and it covers a lot of the issues that we've talked about, including suggestions on how they could improve mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery efforts. And you can certainly give examples of how they have done this in relation to specific disasters. This paper should be 10 to 12 pages, double spaced, and use a minimum of 6 scholarly articles that have been published in the last, I'd say, 7 to 10 years. Scholarly articles are peer-reviewed academic articles, so it's important to do some research in that. And there are resources in the class to help you with that academic research. As part of this final paper, you'll be asked to do a final presentation on the paper. It's a PowerPoint presentation with audio that's 4 to 5 minutes long. That's about 5 slides with the title page. That really is, the whole point of it is to provide us, so we can learn from your research, a summary of what you learned and your findings. Most students create this presentation and use a screencast technology to create a video, and then they share that video file with me. Please provide a link to like a YouTube video versus an MP4 file that can be very long, to take quite a bit of time to download. As part of this assignment, in the discussion forum for week 15, you'll be asked to share a draft of this presentation in the discussion forum so others can provide feedback to you on that presentation. And you can, of course, make changes to your presentation based off of that feedback and turn in your final presentation and paper on day 7 of week 15. Prior to completing the final paper, I'm asking that on day 7 of week 6, you provide a topic for your final paper, or at least give me the name of the country or region that you're going to be focused in on. By week 12, day 7, you'll have an outline for your final paper with 4 scholarly references that are due. And then, of course, your final paper and presentation will be due in week 15. Of course, if you have any questions, please check the syllabus or ask any questions in the classroom. Make sure you read all of our course university policies and expectations in the syllabus as well. And I just wish you the very best, and thank you for being in the class. Thank you.